Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, Project MGB Supercharger. Today we're going to go over the costs of how much it cost me to do a DIY, well partial DIY supercharger build on my MGB. And I'm not on the drive, I'm out and about. Let's get into this. My name's Craig and I'm exhausted. Let's do this. That's it guys, we're going to go over some costs. I'm not quite finished yet on this project, but we're going to go over how much it cost me to get so far. We're almost there, nearly ready to hand it over to the professionals. Been doing a bit of work this morning just to do like an oil change, etc, etc. I had a leaking from my overdrive solenoid, so I've changed that. I've done some bleeding on the brakes, they were a bit spongy, so I've sorted that, and I've decided to come out for a drive. My initial plan was to go down to Caffeine and Machine down near Stratford in Essington, the hill, but the car's just not quite there yet. It's a bit far, over an hour and a half in the MG. So I thought, you know what I'll do a tour of some local pubs around me, have a half in a couple of them, and enjoy the sunshine. It's my birthday tomorrow, I'm 50 tomorrow, so it's a Friday today, and I've decided just to take the day off, do a bit of work on the car, and then go for a little drive. So really nice day. So let's get into the costs. What have I spent on this supercharger? And I've got quite a rough and ready list here. We're going to go through that, see if I can remember anything. You guys might point out a few things I forgot, but I think I'll have picked up the majority of this. Right, so first things first, let's start with the supercharger itself. So the supercharger itself was really cheap. That was only £45 off eBay. £45. The reason it was cheap was it's obviously off a Mercedes compressor and C-Class or something like that. It's off one of those, and it had a broken lug, but that part of it I was cutting off anyway because I was welding to the back. So it was really cheap because it was broken in terms of the purpose that it was meant for, but I didn't need it, so it made it cheap, which was good for me. Brilliant, £45. Now I had to put some oil in that and service it. That was £13. I bought an SU carburetor and I tried to fit that, didn't I guys? You will have seen some of my earlier episodes on that. So my plan is to lower it and then rotate it. That didn't go very well, but it'll still cost me some money. That SU carburetor was over £100, but I'm going to sell that back on, so I'm not including that in the cost. But I am going to include the things I bought to try and mount it. So aluminium plates. I bought 2 aluminium plates, one for the SU carburetor, and then one for the one that's on it at the moment. And I'm now finished, and I'll bring you in to give you a closer look, but I just want to do one more fit on here. Right, they were £16 each or thereabouts. And then for the SU one, I remember I was trying to put that bend in and drop it down and link that in, so that bend itself was £18, so that's got to be factored into the costs, although in real terms I didn't really use it. So if you're going to do it, you can discount that. I bought some things like brazing rods and stuff like that. They were probably like £10 or something. Nice and simple, but okay. So now I've got a supercharger and I've got a mounting kit. Next, and then I need to change out that carburetor. So I changed it for a Weber, didn't I? And I got the Weber cheap, so £200 for that Weber. So, and it came with a manifold, so I'll probably be able to sell that manifold. I'm not entirely sure how much I'll get for it, 20, 30 pounds, don't know, but £200 for the Weber. But I've had to buy a few jets here and there, haven't I? So I put £30 down for jets. Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, probably not less, but I think we're getting closer to being tuned, but I'm not going to go any further with the jets at the moment. Right, so I've got my Weber, I've got my mounting plate, I've got my supercharger. Awesome. So that's fitting on there nicely. Next is the supercharger kit itself. This wouldn't be possible without VMAX, Scott and Stuart. So he sells those kits on his website, and the supercharger kit, when I bought it, probably about 3 years ago now, because it took me a while to get to this after I bought it, cost £900, that kit did. And that includes the manifold, the pulley on the crank, the pulley on the supercharger as well, a belt. Now the belt was too long for me, so I had to buy a few more belts. I bought 2 more belts, so I need to factor those into the cost. It also includes a decompression plate and 2 gaskets. It's got some boost connecting links to thread that into your supercharger, a throttle cable mount, and charge cooler connectors. Now I'm going to get back to those in a minute, right? But that's £900, all that, and that is really good actually. I think that's really good price given the quality of that manifold and that aluminium casting on that. I'm really happy with the value of that, and Stuart's done a great job in putting that together, which is fantastic. So I also bought things like heat shields, didn't I, and wraps for the exhaust. So the heat shield was £11, and the wrap, I can't see it, oh, that was £11 as well, but I had to buy some bands for the end of the wrap. They were £5, so that's starting to add up. It's all these small things that start to add up, isn't it? I bought some gasket material, which was £8, and then I've been and gone and bought things like Loctite sealant as well, and JB Weld, and also some high temperature gasket sealants as well. So Loctite was 16, JB Weld was 10, and the silicon was like 9. So we've got to add those in. I had to buy a new coolant hose to ensure that we get in the coolant system connected, because I had to avoid hitting the belt, because the original coolant hose on the 75 hits the belt. So that coolant hose was £20. I bought some new fuel filter and fuel hose. That's £5 for the filter, £7 for the hose. I had to get some new brass fittings to fit, what were those for? To fit my servo vacuum, because the ones I was given had a 90-degree elbow on it. I wanted to come straight out, so I bought some more. They were only £6, and I had to move my breather, didn't I? So that was £11. This is racking up, this, isn't it, guys? So I'll try and keep a running total on the screen. I think try and do that. That might be quite difficult in YouTube space. I had to get some throttle springs and a throttle lever. They were £4 and £7 respectively. Yeah. And then some stainless steel rods to attach those to the front of the Supercharger. They were only £4. Nuts and bolts and washers and things. Spring pins. I'll probably put it down as £20 for that lot. And then I'm into a boost gauge, which is £25, and a mount for that boost gauge, which was £10. So what else have I got here? I'm then into things like a coil, because I couldn't get it to work properly, and I don't think my coil was actually defective. I'm going to add the coil in. That's £45 now. Now, I also got myself a what do you call it? 123 Tune Plus distributor. I had that a couple of years before I fitted the Supercharger, although I did actually fit it because I wanted the flexibility of the Supercharger. Now, you don't necessarily need to have that, so I'm not going to add it in, but that was something like £400 for that bit of kit. It's not on the car at the moment, so I'm not going to add it in for that. But if you want to go down that road of having that flexibility, then it's quite a layout for that. I do need to get that back on actually. What I'm going to do with that distributor is I'm going to hook it up off the car to a battery and my other coil, and just try and run it, see if I can get it to spark, see if it's the distributor itself or it's just me. So we'll have a play with that. But I'm booked in with Peter Burgess on the October the 8th up in Mansfield for a rolling road session. So I want to get that distributor back on for that session, so we can play with the timing a lot more flexibly, but it's got to really be performing better than it has done in the past. I also bought some spark plugs, didn't I? So they were something like £10. Right, then I've got like charge cooler. So I've not got it on yet, but I'm going to be fitting a charge cooler to this, and I'm going to try and get that done again before the rolling road, because if you changing the temperature you're in there, it starts changing your variables on your tuning, so I want to fit that. Charge cooler bottle was £40. The fittings for that were £5. The hose was £9. A charge cooler radiator was £40, and that comes with its own fan. That's like a computer radiator. And a pump is £20. So that's all up something like £114 of that charge cooler when I get it fitted. And then I'm running out of things on my list, guys. I think I'm I'm hitting the end here. Now I have just done my cool ducting inlet, haven't I, as well? So that, I mean, I'm only going to say something like £10 for filament and printing it, most of it, and probably another £25 for the ducting itself. So what am I forgetting? There's probably going to be a little bit to this video when I get home and remember things, but I think that is the lion's share. Now, I've done the louvers as well to help manage heat, but I'm not going to include that because I think that was my personal choice, and you've seen in the video that in fact they're not having that great deal of benefit. So I don't think you guys would need to do that. I do like them. I think they're quite cool, but I mean that's only 120 pounds. So I'm not going to include that. But it's been quite a journey, this Supercharger build. I think I procrastinated for quite a while in terms of noting how difficult it was going to be to interface that SU carb to that mounting plate into that Supercharger. And I got really good comments from you guys when I was doing that around fuel pooling. So I'm glad I've moved away from that and gone to the Weber, although it's a heck of a job to try and get it to tune properly. I hope Peter Burgess can sort me out and get that sorted, otherwise I'm going to be in a world of pain. But I think he'll work his magic on that. It's all about the balance of getting your timing right, getting all your jets right, and that goes from your idle jets, your pump jets, and your main circuit on the Weber. And I just don't really know where I am with that. So Peter Burgess will sort me out. So the all-up figure, I don't know. I might have to go and get my calculator, watch this back, and add it up as I go. So bear with me. I'm going to enjoy my pint, watch this little bit back, add it up, and then I'll get back to you in about 5 seconds. Cheers, guys. Right, I've done it, I've added it up, and the clouds are mustering, so I might have to make a move pretty quick. But all up, everything included on that list, £1,661. So call it £1,700 because there's bound to be things there I've forgotten. And I've got to go and get it tuned by Peter Burgess. So that's going to cost me, I don't know, 100, 150, £200 to get that done. That's not necessarily a Supercharger thing though, is it? You could get that done to any car, carburetors, etc, etc. But I've never done it in the past, so another £200 to add, maybe. So, just in comparative terms though, I've just gone and looked at the Moss Supercharger kit for my year of car, and that's £6,000. But yeah, granted, it's going to work. Mine doesn't necessarily work at the moment. Principally, it's the same, but that's a heck of a lot of money, isn't it? And I've got the knowledge that I've done it myself, self-built as opposed to bought. So there is that. VMAX SCART cost for this is £2,100 for the full kit. It doesn't include a charge cooler, I don't think, and it wouldn't include things like ducting or a coil when I bought that, etc, etc. So my comparative number against the £2,100 for VMAX SCART is £1,400, but there's a heck of a lot of effort and hours gone in on my part to get this to work. And that's not just hours outside under the bonnet, that's hours thinking and researching and buying stuff off the internet. So, but I've enjoyed the process, I really have, and I've made a few videos and it's good for content for YouTube as well. So I think the figure here really is a fully fitted running Supercharger tuned by a professional. It's going to be below £2,000 in my world, and I think it's really added to the car, and it's not blowing the engine up just yet. I'm still trying to take it a little bit more gently. I've changed that main jet out to something a bit richer, which is helping under acceleration, but I'm still taking it quite gentle till Peter's had a go at it. So, but that's it, guys. So there's still more to do on this project. It's far from over. What I have done is probably something quite stupid, but I've done it anyway because I couldn't resist. Is JM on Cars has set up a track day up in Blyton near Sheffield early November, and I was mulling it over, but I figured, regret the things you do, not those that you don't. I think that's right. So I've signed up for it in the MG. Needs tuning first before we go anywhere near that. Otherwise, I'll have to think about another car to take. And the GCV's got no MOT at the moment, so Right guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me on this Supercharger journey. It's a lovely sunny day. I'm going to continue my little tour. Pop to one more pub on the way home for another half, and I really enjoy that. And I've really enjoyed getting out in this. It's far from perfect yet, but that Supercharger wine, when I put my foot down, when it doesn't bog down, is really cool and really special. So no regrets at all really in supercharging the MGB. People have asked me why bother, but you know, my car, I've had it for a long time, and little tweak here and there just gives you the, what's the word I'm looking for, motivation and the love and the interest to keep going, doesn't it? Because I've done so much on this car over the years. I've really enjoyed this little project, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it too. But where do I go next? Don't know. Need to get a bigger house with more space and then get some more cars on the channel. So let's crack on with that. Also got to get the GTV welded, bit of welding on the sill to do, not much. Get that done, get through the MOT. But for now, get in there with this Supercharger project. So thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments. I'll answer them, no problem. Please hit like and subscribe. It'll really help me out. And hope you guys are well. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys. She's running. Come on. Wowzers, remember it's only for a minute. Oh, the belt's coming off. Quick.